I'm flipping fed up with the whole of the European Union or empire.
Yeah, yeah.
You agree, Ash?
Of course I do. I mean, they're just doing it for themselves. They don't even care about their countries. The Germans and the French should understand that. They're just trying to save their own jobs.
So we want out, just out. And if you're a Remainer and you don't like it, then tough. I mean, I was a Remainer. Luckily, I was saved. Hallelujah. I was saved. I saw the light.
But, yeah.
And now I'm an overreaction. Very difficult to find any Remainers who are prepared to come on, isn't it?
A lot of people who have, like, grandparents from Europe have got, foreign passports so they can stay in if they want. A lot of people have.
Yeah. Shall we talk to our very good friend Jemma Forte? But do you think we can keep her off this or not?
Yeah, easily, yeah. That'll be easy.
Well, I don't like to start. You say hello to her because I'm a bit frightened of her.
Hello, Ash.
How are you?
Hello, James. I'm fine, thank you.
See,
I'm glad I've only just got on the phone. I haven't been listening to you both, that's why.
That's a good thing.
I beg your pardon.
I purposely don't, because in the old days, I'd listen, and then by the time I came on, I was up for a big fight.
Good.
Now I'm...
Okay, well, listen. No, okay. The whole point is that the European Union and any Remainers left dwindling out there need re-education.
I think if you look at every single poll now, people
wrong.
vote to stay.
They're all wrong.
By a
No, they wouldn't,
resounding
Jem. They
majority.
wouldn't. Honestly,
you've lost. Get over it. I mean, that's really what.
Jem, you've lost.
Get over it.
Yeah, that's the best argument. I must say, it's been the most articulate argument.
It doesn't need to be articulate because it's all a bunch of these sort of up themselves people who think they know better than the rest of us. The European Union is trying to become a European empire. They want to dictate how we live our lives in this country, and I, for one, am not having it anymore.
Now look what's happening.
What papers have you been reading? The Express?
I don't read any newspapers. I listen to the fabulous James Whale on Talk Radio, who talks so much sense.
The European Union is just the biggest trading bloc in the world, and they've never governed how we have a sovereign country. They don't make our rules. We've just been part of a trading bloc with regulations within that to have free trade.
Jem, you're talking nonsense. Much as I love you, you're talking nonsense.
I'm talking fact.
Ash,
I'm just telling you what the EU
We buy
is.
more champagne than any other country. 1 out of 4 Audis we buy. I mean, that's just enough there.
Look, do you
want to go on about economics? Well, that's pretty sensible, isn't it?
Well, this is sensible. I mean, this is the whole point. We actually are the people who shop.
A free trade deal we want.
Free trade deal.
You want a free trade deal?
Like it was before we were in the EEC, like it was then,
Yeah.
We've had a free trade deal by being part of the EU.
Yeah, we don't want regulations.
We don't want to be part of them anymore. It's an empire, an embryonic empire, Jemma, that they're building to take over the world.
In the EU, but not
Look what they've done to Greece, Jemma. Look what they've done to Greece and to a number of other former Soviet bloc countries, which we shouldn't have taken in until their economies had grown bigger. They are just trying to take over everything. And Jemma, I love you. I've got to make you see sense on this. I really have. I have sleepless nights worrying about you.
Look, we are in a situation where you've just played an advert on the radio saying, business, get ready in 3 weeks' time, and business doesn't know what for. Sadly, this is completely inevitable from day dot, because everybody's understanding of Brexit was different to the point where
go to gov.uk/transition.
And you'll find out a lot of businesses are already sorted. It's just some of the lazy ones who are not.
Really? So talk to farmers, talk to hauliers, talk to people who
I've spoken to farmers.
And
some, hang on. Some farmers are quite upset about the fact they can't send live animals over to Europe. I am very happy they can't do that because there was absolutely no necessity for them to have to put those animals through that terrible torture. Now that has stopped, and that's great.
And the hauliers are over the moon because the Europeans used to come with their massive petrol tanks and they couldn't compete with them.
Well, some hauliers are.
Yeah, but the national hauliers.
What did you just say, Ash? The hauliers are over the moon.
Yeah, they are, because we spoke to the union, didn't we? The hauliers union.
Yeah, sure. So you're on a different planet.
No, because it was an unfair playing field. They get their licences. Their petrol's much cheaper in Europe. They can fill up their tanks and not even have to fill up. They can come to this country.
Should we look at the government document that was leaked that said there's a reasonable scenario for what will happen with a no deal? So the availability of medicines and medical products, that will drop to...
Well, that was proven wrong, wasn't it? That's been shown. That's Project Fear.
Hang on, can we just talk sensibly, Gemma?
We got the vaccine first, haven't we?
Gemma, you're
if I'm coming on, let me speak.
No, but Gemma, my programme, you want to come on, I'm in charge. And you have to listen to fact, not some of the PR blurb that has been put out to try and change this.
The Conservatives, the Brexiteers report. This is the Brexiteers report.
Gemma, it isn't.
Reduced availability of food, especially fresh food. So food supply chain's broken. That's going to hit the consumers. That's going to hit the poorest in society. Food costs.
It's going to hit Europe very badly, isn't it? If we don't buy their food.
It doesn't have to happen.
It won't hit Europe as bad as us because there's 27 of them and one of us.
We don't sell anything to them.
Border issues will lead to disruption of water, energy. You're going to have... So the hauliers are not happy, trust me. When Gove went to meet them, they're not happy. They're going to have, apparently, disruption for up to 12 months with people just sitting there.
Well, ring us, truckers, give us a ring.
Ring us, truckers, and tell us, because we haven't heard this before. No. And if hauliers want to make a point of it, and some hauliers think they're a little bit political, then they will be in the wrong place at the wrong time. There doesn't need to be any of this trouble. This was leaked by flipping... Oh, I'm so angry. I've really got to control my language. Oh. This was leaked by a bunch of idiots who really are Remainers, who thought they would leak some of this stuff to try and undermine the confidence. And
they said we wouldn't get insulin and all this kind of thing. It was
exactly. Right, okay. So you're
we've beaten them with a vaccine.
That any negative outcome of Brexit is the fault of people who didn't want it. I mean, my God, the entire
I think that's the most sensible thing you said since you've been on here, actually, Gemma.
No, it's not. I said that's what you're trying to do, and it's complete rubbish. Basically, the Leave won the referendum. The Conservatives won 2 elections and have got a massive majority. So for the last 4 years, you've had nothing but Leavers in charge. They chose the Prime Minister. 100% of the Cabinet are Leavers. They wrote the withdrawal agreement that isn't worth toffee, and they're now trying to break with the Internal Markets Bill because it doesn't solve anything. Because
the Internal Markets Bill is being interpreted in a way by the Europeans that they knew would not be acceptable to
legal
us.
Experts that it breaks international law in a limited and specific way.
Well, I'm sorry, the international law, as far as that is concerned, is ridiculous, and we would not be able to continue to... it's no point in laughing.
To a judge, it's ridiculous. It's law.
Oh, I've met many judges in my time that are ridiculous, and a lot of them have been retired now, thank goodness. So just because you happen to be a judge doesn't mean you are the...
Ireland.
Well, the way that Boris wants to solve it, and the way that sensible negotiation will solve it, and the way that the people in charge of the European Union, and let's not mix up the people in charge of the European Empire, as the people who live in Europe. I feel a lot of people within European nations now would love to split up this thing that seems to be taking over everybody's life. It is an empire in building, and that's all they're interested in.
Since we've left, apparently support has only gone up because people have gone, flipping it, that looks like a nut thing to do, and it's not going very well. Where are all these trade agreements we were promised? How is this the easiest deal in history, as promised by Gove?
Yeah. But they're not. They're now trying to make an example of us. And if you want to give in to that, Gemma, I am very sad to hear that you want to roll over and give in to their bully boy tactics.
It's not a playground battle, and it isn't bullying. They want a level.
But it is completely.
This is what people like me have been saying from day one, that this idea of we are so exceptionalist and so nationalistic that we can do whatever we want as Britain, and you have to let us.
That's a sovereign power can.
The bully. We are a sovereign power already.
Exactly not what we are saying.
Like seatbelts, people were saying, "Oh, you're taking my liberty away," and it's like, well, no, it's become the law. You've got to do it. It was the same when people stopped people smoking. Like.
Why would you give foreign powers?
And they're inflicting all this misery upon us. It was put together in the first place, post-war.
Because we are just now seeing, and they didn't want us there in the post-war, I can assure you, they didn't really want us part of the European Union because they thought we would take over. And then when we saw, and I didn't, I was a Remainer, I voted to remain, I'm so ashamed of myself. And I didn't see, because I do not like being controlled and bullied by people I have no power over. And we didn't have any power over them.
There'll be even less with the deal.
At the moment are this right, this side of the Tory party, the fanatics in the ERG, who speak a load of rubbish.
Unfortunately, they're not being loud enough, are they? Because if they'd been a little louder, we might be in a much better position. I think we've been too soft. I think we've been too easy. I think we've allowed Monsieur Barnier and all his cronies to actually take the mick out of us.
Have had 4 years with their amazing negotiation tactics.
Well, it's easy to scupper them, though, isn't it? Which is what's happened. I mean,
it's oh dear.
Why would you want foreign powers to have any control over us, in perpetuity, especially if we have no say in it as well in the future?
We have Parliament. Have you ever seen the Houses of Parliament? It's that big building in the middle of London where we go in and we have proportional representation.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be decided there, would it?
Sarcastic won't help your
case.
Wouldn't be
decided in Europe. Regulations and other stuff.
Regulations, yes, on things like trade and
in
things
perpetuity,
like
forever.
As part of that, what's happened is we've been part of this very powerful, the most.
We wouldn't have any say in it as well.
And then people from other international countries have decided, right, we want a part of that. So where should we come and put our money in? I know. London looks attractive, or Manchester looks attractive, or parts of the UK look attractive because they've got access into Europe and into the single market. So we want a bit of that, so we'll put all our money in there. But actually, we really like the look of the UK as well because it has its own identity and its own sovereignty, which is why places like Goldman Sachs have recently, literally a few weeks ago, taken 60 billion worth of assets and planted them in Frankfurt. So lucky Frankfurt. We won't be getting that kind of
unlucky Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs want to behave like that.
You know
they
unlucky for the brokers at Goldman Sachs.
That I've said, all you've done is descend into being like a 2-year-old and go, well, we don't want you, we don't like it, we don't like Goldman Sachs, we don't like farmers, we don't like Hauliers, we don't like them, we don't like Remainers.
We like Hauliers and
farmers. Let her carry on like that. Just the way that Remainers behave when they've lost the argument. Let her go on.
Okay, so what have you won? As of next year, what are we getting from your fabulous Brexit? Tell me how my life will change tangibly in a positive way.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're still here next year. We'll let you know.
We'll go
because
control our own laws.
I don't see into the future. So if we're around, we will let you know.
Because I tell you, I can see into the future because based on facts.
Well, you will be able to because you're a Remainer, and Remainers are so much cleverer than the rest of us.
You're the one making it into a tribal culture war, but this is going to affect everybody, and the next couple of generations.
You're absolutely right. It is. If we don't get out, we're going to be really.
No,
we're not staying in it, Gemma. We're going. So we might as well get together.
Yeah, but we were promised a deal, okay? I wanted to stay, but
sometimes
promises might be a world trade deal. It might be the world trade, the WTC deal. That's a deal still. No deal is a deal.
It makes us a third party. It makes like a third world country doesn't mean anything. And do you know what? When we've got that, the hilarious thing is we still need to make a deal with Europe.
But it's the same as signing up to European regulations. We wouldn't have any say in it. They just decide what and tell us what to do.
Oh, mamma mia. Well, listen, look, I hope it goes well because actually all the economic forecasts say that the economic impact of a no deal will be 3 times worse than COVID has been on
in the short term, maybe.
Really? Well, I suggest that the
20 years, which is
I suggest the members of the European, whatever you want to call it, Empire, Union, whatever. I suggest they wake, realise they need to do a deal with us, which is not going to be a deal.
James. Why don't you send them a text? I'm sure that's brilliant. You've really solved it.